Okay, folks, let's go ahead and get started. It's 10:33. If anyone has anything for us, please give it to Mr. Curran. We'll begin, as we always do, with an invocation on the pledge. I'm doing the invocation, I see, and John is doing the pledge. If you wish to join in either or both, please rise. Almighty and merciful God, we come today to do business of the county, but we come with heavy hearts. A few days ago, 3 young students at Michigan State were murdered. People who we would consider kids, even though they're young adults, but their lives have been taken away. And we wrestle with understanding why. Because we know that you are an all-loving God. And sometimes we wonder, why did these things happen? Why is there evil in the world? And there's no good explanation, I suppose. We ask you to give strength to their families, to their loved ones, to enable them to bear the unbearable load. And we are reminded once again of the brevity and the uncertainty of life. God, please be with their families, with their loved ones, with the and we ask all of this, Lord, in your name, in the name of your Son, in the name of the Holy Ghost. Amen.
Amen. Join with me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Bell.
Here.
Curran.
Here.
Freeling.
Present.
Harrison.
Here.
Hinkleman.
Here.
Jarrett.
Yes, here.
Hot. Here. Pittsford.
Here.
Walrath.
Here.
Warfel. Here.
Yarborough.
Present.
Elliott.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, all present.
Thank you. Minutes from a week ago need to be approved.
So moved.
Moved by Freeling. Is there support?
Second.
Supported by Majerick. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Those minutes are approved. Madam Clerk, I understand we have at least one communication.
Yes, a resolution from Mackinac County Board of Commissioners honoring the Michigan Association of Counties on its 125th anniversary received on February 10th, 2023.
Thank you. Public comments are in order now for anything on the agenda in the way of resolutions. I don't think we have any added. Well, yeah, we do. We have an honorary resolution honoring Gladys Peoples Burks. So if you have anything to say about resolutions, including the honorary resolution ending in 2148, this would be your chance. All right. We'll move to the consent calendar. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Curran, supported by Pitchford. Is there discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Curran.
Yes.
Freeling.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Hinkleman.
Yes.
Jarrett.
Yes.
Hot.
Here. Pittsford.
Yes.
Walrath.
Yes.
Warfel.
Yes.
Yarborough.
Got me saying.
Yes.
Sorry.
Elliott.
Yes,
12 yeas.
thank you. You heading out?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mamie, for handling this. Please show that Commissioner Yarborough is leaving to deliver the resolution to Gladys Peoples Burke's family.
Thank you.
Committee reports, Mr. Chair of Personnel and Human Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We met this morning, approved a resolution that you just took action on, the retainer for Midwest Strategy Group. We also talked about the issue regarding Juneteenth. And so our recommendation to the full board is that we not add that to the recognized holidays for the county, but ask that the departments recognize and honor that Juneteenth in another fashion. We heard an update, brief update from Laura Freeling, our Register of Deeds, had a written report that we accepted, reviewed and accepted from our Parks Department. And then we had an issue involving one of our appointees to the Mental Health Board who's had some scheduling issues. And so we were gathering additional information about that. And that we also had the privilege of having our chair and the administrator come and talk with us, and we considered what they had to say, but took no action. And that would conclude my report.
Any questions for PHS?
What was it about?
I'll defer to my other committee members to go into great detail about what we heard.
It was a ferret farm brought up.
Ferret Ranch.
Ferret Ranch, I apologize.
We did get a brief update on the animal control operation, and so, but there was no action requested of us.
Any questions for PHS? If not, Mr. Chair of Admin.
Thank you, Mac. We met this morning, and first in to see us was Ashley Herr, our Animal Control Director, and Commissioner Ott would like to report out on that.
Okay, so this is my first time, so bear with me. Let's see here. My notes. The animal control has had Kristen Heisen with the Outcome Counseling Firm. She's been there the last 4 days, and they went over improvements to the infrastructure, how to improve the standard operating procedures to keep the turnaround times low. They looked into animal training to improve both the welfare of the animal and the safety of their staff concerning animals that are in the shelter. There are currently 31 dogs being held for court cases. And there's some concern that those animals are held from anywhere 6 to 8 months. And well, because they have to wait for the case to go through, they cannot be put down legally. So there was some discussion they're going to put a committee together to discuss with the prosecutor's office, general attorney's office for Michigan, to figure out how to move forward with case held animals, to come up with a policy, because currently it costs the county $50 per day for those animals to be held. So something needs to be done. I mean, that's an emotional strain on the animal as well. You can't cage an animal for 6, 8 months and then put them up for adoption. That's just not safe. And especially for the staff who's dealing with them every day. And then, of course, they also have staffing issues. And they were very happy to have Kristen there. She was very helpful, helping to move things forward. And they are happy to say that they have had an uptick in animal owners coming to the shelter to pick up their pets instead of animal control having to deliver the pets. So that was one of the good things that has been happening. So as far as I know, that's my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Ott. You did a very nice job. Okay, after Ashley was Chief Judge Mayfield and Court Administrator Carrie Smetanka Haney. And we did talk to her, by the way, both of them, about the court-ordered dogs, and to make sure that they were kind of in the loop, so that when they put together the team that can figure out how to move them dogs forward. For those of you who know retired Judge Sue Dobrich over in Cass County, we were informed that she has headed up a family drug task force. And so this is for family support groups. It's strictly volunteers, and they are looking for members. So if anyone is interested in sitting on this board, it is going to be a tri-county board. It'll be Berrien, Cass, and St. Joe counties. So if you know of anybody who's interested, contact Carrie Smitaga-Haney. She presented us with a Juneteenth memo, and it is awaiting our response on what we're going to do with Juneteenth, which I understand PHSC just reported out on. She provided us with the statistics for 2022 on the caseload. Because of the pandemic, it is, like the prosecutor reported, like a public defender reported, it is coming back. There are much more activities going on within the courthouse than there was during the pandemic. So things are starting to get back to normal and picking up for them. Talk to us about the Juvenile Center, about the meeting with Whiteman and the DLR group. They have a meeting planned for February the 27th. They are in the final stages of the design and for the programs that will be in that facility. They also talked to us about the juvenile contract has been negotiated. We're waiting for the juvenile staff to ratify that contract. Hand in hand with that, we asked the question, does that fill the gap? Does that help you in hiring people at the juvenile center? The answer obviously was yes. And that we expressed our desire that with the pay increases that they actively recruit staff to get the detention side of that juvenile facility back open to full capacity and reinstate the programs that they had that they have not done for at least a year. So we are hoping that that's going to occur. The judge assured us that that is a priority and a goal of hers to see that that gets done. And she did talk to us a little bit about staffing. They're down like 11 vacancies overall in the court right now. And that is all from the court side. Then we do have 2 resolutions that will be coming to you the next time we get together. Resolution ending in 2146. This is with the road department or through the road department. It is an agreement between us and MDOT. The MDOT uses a federal program and federal money to do some resurfacing work, and resolution ending in 2146 is to do that work on East John Beers Road from Eidson Road to M139. So they are going to trench, widen, resurface, do everything to that road. Total amount of the contract is $314,500 to get that done. So that's coming through the road department. And then 2147 is the same program. This is for East Bertrand Road from M51 to East County Line Road, or to the East County Line. And it is in the amount of $291,000. So those 2 resolutions will be coming before us the next time we get together. And that is our report.
Questions for admin? Okay, Mr. Vice Chair of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very quickly, we had Jake Litterker came in today, and we had a new process, maiden voyage for that process for opening bids. And it was taken out for a spin this last week. And what happens is that still a public meeting when the bids are open, but to help streamline the finance committee meetings, they're being opened here in-house under public meeting. And then everything comes to us as an open bid for then movement to the department. And a new process for us. We asked Jake how the process went. It went very, very fluidly. He said it was just moments, minutes, and he had it taken care of when it came to us instead of us making quick notes and possibly making mistakes. It was all typed out and very, very fluid. So it
was a good process, and they opened 2 bids. One was for liquid salt and one was for pipe, both for the road department, and we forwarded those on to the road department for their approval and for their overview, and it went very, very fluidly. We asked Jake also to, if, as time goes on, if there are things that we can improve in the process to make more fluid, let us know, and so we're gonna try to refine that process and make it better. We also dealt with 4 waivers. One was for used stainless steel truck beds to refit onto some of the plow trucks where we've got some failing mild steel beds, and that waiver was for $23,000. We had another one from Truck and Trailer Specialties for the setup of 10 trucks, which included plows and boxes, everything, all the gear that goes onto the truck. That was for 2.2 million, some change. We also had one from D&K Trucks for the actual 10 trucks. That was for $1,493,076. And then we had one from also from the road department that was for Metro Business on office walls for a little over $13,000, and those were all single source things. And they were single source for obvious reasons. They had particular trucks that they picked out and spec'd, and then beds and plows that they picked out and spec'd to run with those things. And so we approved those waivers. Moving on, our administrator, Brian, came in, and I think, Brian, you had a conversation with everybody about that, so I won't belabor that. Just suffice it to say that we're gonna have a broadband resolution whose travel path will go as a draft resolution from BC Bit to finance and then to the full board. And it'll start at BC Bit, and that's where I figure it'll get vetted and corrected properly, and then come to finance for the last look, and then it'll come to the board. The thing of note here is that it may come as a 1-day turnaround. It may come that way. And at the very least, it'll be 1 day, but at the very longest, it'll be a 1-week turnaround. And the reason that it'll be that is, of course, we're trying to get that in by by a mid-March. I believe it's the 12th deadline to get it to the state. So we're on a time crunch with that, and they'll move forward with that. But you'll all see that, and it could be as soon as February 23rd, and will probably have been vetted by the BC Bit and Finance by then. Lastly, we had a request to deviate from the bid process to not go with the lowest bidder. Gene Lawrence from the Juvenile Court came in, and there were 2 candidates that they had interviewed that were applying for a job through a grant process for a parent advocate specialist. This is someone who is hired through grant process, but works independently from the court system, mostly for a trust situation, and they advocate for the parents in cases of juvenile separation from parents. And so inasmuch after the interviews, they decided to go with the other candidate. And these were both bid projects, but the difference between the one candidate and the other candidate was negligible. And they opted to go with one that they felt had better job skills to go along with it. So that's what they did. And anything else? So report, Mr. Chair.
Questions for finance? Okay, commissioner reports. John, you want to start off?
Yeah, I attended the My High broadband event at the college, and it was good to know how the state is.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I attended the My High broadband hearing public meeting at LMC, and it's just good to know that the state is working hard to kind of bridge that gap when it comes to broadband connectivity in communities throughout the state. I also attended the Mental Health Authority meeting with Commissioner Majerick, and we got some good information there. It was a very thorough presentation, yeah, that concludes my report.
So I attended the Chamber CEO Council last Friday at St. Joe Township. Also attended the broadband meeting on Valentine's Day, and then we had an LEPC meeting that I attended with Commissioners Volrath and Curran. And that concludes my report.
I met with just about every one of the townships I represent. I met with Kathy Yates and we talked about things that are going on in Benton Township. They have a brand new chief who just started. So I'm gonna be having a meeting with him soon to talk about his priorities. They're gonna be having chaplains join the fire and police departments to go out and do some local work there. We're gonna have a good working relationship. One of the things that we're partnering on is the Orchards Mall. We both have a vested interest in seeing that mall get condemned and torn down. We think that it's past due its time, and we're trying to find the right avenue in order to make that happen. Because the vendors inside, mold, water, everything, people know it's an eyesore for the community. And we're trying to find the right avenue to make that happen. I met with, or at least spoke on the phone with David Chandler from Sodas Township. We'll be having a meeting coming up soon. I attended the Hager Township board meeting. And we talked about everything from broadband to easements and got to meet with Izzy DiMaggio. He's great. I like him a lot. He's a cool guy. And they're going to be looking for some letters of support for me for some projects they have going on. I was at the SMCAA meeting last night with Julie Warfel. It was a great meeting there to get to introduce myself and get ready to sit on that board. And for the grant application that I've been talking about for a while now for gun violence prevention, the people I'm working with federally are ready to start moving forward with that. So they're truly ready to start getting into the community, having meetings, convening people together to figure out what are the correct places to engage when it comes to who's going to be on the grant application, where those monies are going to flow. And they're really excited about working with county, local governments with that. And that concludes my report.
Let's see, on Tuesday, I attended LEPC along with Bob and Dave. And Dave is the chair of LEPC, so I'll kind of leave him some room there. Later that same day, I did attend the My High listening tour along with Julie and Terry and Brian and Bob and Ray and me. I miss anybody? And I know Brian reported out on this morning during the committee of the whole, but I don't think you did justice to the excitement that is really being generated right now with this. I mean, there's so many good things going on and there's so much money coming down the pike that we are very well postured to receive. In fact, I was talking to the gal who was one of the presenters from the My High listening tour, and it had to do with, she made the statement of the need in the state and how much money we will get from the federal government, and then how much of that money will be trickled down to the counties. And I told her, I said, well, you're aware that we've already challenged the FCC map. And she goes, oh yeah, I'm well aware of Berrien County. Because we are only one of, I think she said 3 counties who had the work done of DCS, where they actually went parcel by parcel. We can tell them parcel by parcel whether they have any internet access or not, and we can use that information to help get more money from the federal and then the state. So it's exciting. It was fun, and we had a good turnout. There was a lot of people there, so it's a lot of good things going on. Wednesday, I attended the BC BIT, where we Zoomed with a couple of ISPs, and I intend to go on the garage tour today, and that's my report.
LEPC was Tuesday, Valentine's Day with Commissioners Jim and Bob, and it was pretty much a routine day. We did our normal business, and we had a couple presentations by Captain Rocky Adams and David Albers on safety, particularly that truck crash on US 12 a while back, that because of the safety protocols and things of the people that were first on the scene, I mean, it could have been a lot worse. A lot more people could have put themselves in danger. How it wasn't bigger than it was when 2 trucks going 60 miles an hour each go head to head, but it's too bad for the drivers, but it could have been a lot worse for the people responding. But it was a good presentation, and I'm
We were fortunate in some aspects. The state trooper had been on the road, the trucker side of the things for the state police for several years before going back on the road so he knew that those trucks were leaking things and knew it could be a very volatile situation. So he made sure everybody coming after him stayed back as far as they could until they were sure of the safety. And so it was pretty much our meeting.
I attended Brownfield last week after this meeting, and Commissioner Majerick was very quick to nominate me for vice chair for the upcoming term. That was very nice, very welcoming. I also attended broadband. And then with Commissioner Pitchford last night, attended the Community Action Agency meeting, my final meeting. And they did go over the financial report and the audit for the year. So everything is in good order at the Community Action Agency. That's my report.
Nothing to report.
I also attended with Commissioner Bell, Riverwood Board last night, and the presentation was on one of the main things that we do, and that's for people with intellectual and development disabilities will live independent and rewarding lives to the greatest extent possible, which means we integrate them into the community life and activities as best we can. We try to find them employment in a supported or independent employment setting. We try to find them housing in the most independent settings possible. And with that, they are now pretty much fully staffed with therapists and consultants. They are having issues with caregivers. A couple of houses had to close down because they didn't have enough caregivers. But for the customer side, they're back to normal on pre-COVID numbers. And just mentioned Commissioner Pitchford's. I was at the Orchard Mall, the first grand opening party, as my family started one of the first stores there. And it was quite interesting back then, but the last time I was there, it wasn't the same experience. And that's all I have.
The last week, I too was a part of the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. We did all of the officer electing. I do just want to take a moment and say thank you to Commissioner Majerick for leading us over the last couple of years, actually. You were there as the chair for that. And we have a number of projects that are kind of being kicked around, and it's nice that we have that authority as a tool for economic development and repurposing those lands. A number of broadband meetings that we had. So I think there were 3 different sit-ins from ISPs initially reaching out to the county, looking at possibilities for Robin. So I attended all of those. I went to the MyHigh meeting. It was great to see the turnout, both from local stakeholders, but also the public engaging with the state for what those next steps are for the funding that's coming down the pike. Friday, there was an update with myself, Commissioner Harrison, Commissioner Kern for BCAT on transportation. And what we've heard is that Berrien Bus continues to find an uptick in its ridership. It is finding that it's got a number of contracts that are coming on board. And so what we've asked is just to have a report drafted that will then come to the Finance Committee, because that is the parent committee for transportation, for us then to kind of review that and look and see how we can continue to improve the operations for Berrien Bus. There was a couple of tours that I briefly took time to be a part of. I think Commissioner Pitchford and Commissioner Ott were there, along with Commissioner Bell for printing and the EOC. I was there just briefly for that. And with that, I would like to take the last part of my report to just highlight and say a thank you to our staff. Today, we received a packet on broadband from our printing department. But what you don't know is the incredible amount of work and effort and turnaround that happened from the printing department, Julie, of just helping to make that happen so we would have that ready. We first rolled it out for the Strategic Leadership Council. There was an update on broadband that the county was invited to come and report on. Just For background, the Strategic Leadership Council best practice is a combination of a lot of the local leaders and stakeholders, and they are very much interested in our efforts on broadband. So we rolled that out and had that highlighted. We also had that report available for the MyHigh meeting. And so I just want to give a big kudos to that staff, but also in that report, you'll see on the back page, the dashboard from our GIS department and the work that Lex and Helen and the rest of his team did, working with our consultant through DCS, was incredible. And the fact that we have that and we can point that to the ISPs, we can point that to the state, we can point that to any of our municipal leaders to say, here is the real-time data that you have as it relates to broadband, is an incredible tool. And we have incredibly capable individuals in that department to be able to help make it look effortless. And it was not in any way, shape, or form. So I just wanted to take a moment to highlight and give a kudos to them. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian.
Okay, so I'll start by saying thank you. So commissioners, new commissioners that attended a tour of Empire last week, thank you for taking the time. Commissioners that are going to go out and see a road department garage today, thank you for taking the time. A big thank you to the sheriff. The sheriff has guided tours centered of the jail facility. He's given and speech on some of the county's needs. So thanks, Sheriff, for that. He also agreed to provide for Lindsay, Representative Wenzel, and then I'm Senator Peters to come and tour some of the county facilities. So that's great. And then lastly, to the commissioners, last 2 weeks, jail maintenance project. And if you go onto the county's site today, you can see that jail plumbing, jail roofing, court roofing, as well as jail painting are happening, and these things are flowing through properly. So thank you to the commissioners. That is actually all I've got. I can't help myself, Commissioner Majerick. This week, I was sitting in Battle Creek between two swim meets. My daughter is 8. My middle child is 11. That's Calvin. We had to run over and get a birthday present. Calvin and Marin, halfway through getting the birthday present, said they had never been in a mall before. And they were both mystified as we walked through the mall in Battle Creek. So yeah, so there you go, sir. All right, those are my comments.
Thank you. Speaking of comments, it's now time for general public comments. Anyone wishing to be heard? Name and town, up to 2 minutes. Yes, sir. We don't recognize you. Who are you?
Pelzer, Hager Township. Last Monday, I went to a Hager Township meeting, right? We had about 25 people there. I had a room about this size right here. Had tables, 3 to a table, you know, they had 5 people up front. Now, Hager Township has 4,000 residents, or whatever you want to call them, living in the township. Half the townships actually is in the water out there. Okay, you guys represent 174,000. Well, what's going on here? So I walk in here, I expect something like, where do I hang my coat? Is there coffee around here available? It's back there, right? You know, I know you're stuck in here, you're rubbing elbows. If I was sitting there, I'm gonna make sure the guy sitting next to me had all these shots. You know, I asked you last time, who do I go to complain about what's going on here? This is ridiculous. Who? Somebody give me a name. You guys think you're God or something. You know, you're the end of the line, right? like Harry Truman. No, the buck stops here, right? Then he goes out, he drops atomic bombs in Japan, right? Kills all the civilians. But he wasn't put on trial for that. It's not a war crime, was it? Kill the enemy with that. So what I'm suggesting is do something with this thing. But why am I the only one? There's only 2 people here. Look at that. Him and me. We're supposed to be 174,000 people, right? That's you guys.
2 minutes, sir.
Goodbye.
Anyone else wish to be heard? Okay, other business. Under other business, I've just been advised that the drinking fountain is working.
Oh.
I don't know about the courthouse, but we will entertain the possibility of naming it the Peltzer Fountain. We'll see how that goes.
Name it after me.
Yeah. Does anybody have any other business? We just finished public comments. Did you wish to be heard? Okay, all right. Well, we're happy to have you regardless. Announcements and reminders, we're closed Monday. 3 weeks from today, we won't do the 8:35 meeting because we're gonna all be photographed, facing forward and then sideways. So, right. Is there anything else?